Yeah, really excited. Spring football's here. It's come up on us pretty quick, but excited the opportunity to get back out there. And I know our guys have been working really hard over the off season and putting in a lot of good work. And so we'll take it to the field now and see what we got. But really looking forward to it. But that said, questions.
Coach, looking at your staff, obviously some changes were made before the bowl game. Some more since then. Coach Crum leaving, Coach Summers. And so forth. I guess, how's the staff looking right now, and is it complete at this point?
Yeah, completed our staff, got a lot of new faces, a lot of talented people I'm really excited about. I think that's the number one job as a head coach is when you lose talented people, replace them with even more talented people. And really excited about what we've done there and all our new faces. You're right, there are a lot of new faces. But I think we have what we need, and I was able to make some new hires too in our operations side that I think is really going to help us on the recruiting side, and so I'm really excited about that as well.
To kind of follow up with that, the recruiting side, Taylor Brown, Zach Grant, both. Moving on, I guess how much have they meant to this program, especially with all the new portal stuff, and I guess how do you replace what those guys brought?
Well, they did a great job, and I've always said that I want guys to move on to things that they aspire to accomplish, and both those guys and really all our staff have had an opportunity to do that, and it says a lot about our program, says a lot about our administration, and how healthy we are at WKU. This is a destination place for a lot of professional people. They want to work here because they know it's a great opportunity to continue to move up the ladder. But to answer your question, both those guys were really talented. Felt like we've replaced them with even more staff members now. Got 3 or 4 other people that we've replaced them with that I think are doing a fantastic job. So excited about them being on board as well.
Just looking at this past season, just kind of what are your expectations going into spring practice just based on all the success you had this season?
Well, I think we lost a lot of pieces from last year. You look back, and I talk about what are the question marks that we need to answer during spring. Who is going to be the quarterback? We'll just try to figure all those things out, and you lose some receivers out there that were very productive, and we got to be able to replace those guys. Got to be able to replace offensive linemen. Lost a couple guys on the defensive side of the ball. So you hear me say that, and you're like, okay, well, it sounds like they lost a lot, and, how do you feel about it? I've never been more excited, I think we have a young football team, but I think we've done a great job in recruiting. I think the people that we have lost, we're going to replace them with people that are just as talented. So I'm excited to see what we have come start of spring football. But we're starting a long journey with our first practice being that first step. And, we have all of spring, all of summer, and all of fall camp to try to get that finished product together. But I really like our pieces. I like this young football team, and I like what we can do.
You say all the time it starts with that trigger man. Bailey was that guy. Last year did a pretty good job at that. 3 quarterbacks back. Signed Caveman to South Warren, get Jarrett, and then Austin from West Florida. I guess, how do you like that room, and is there a timetable for when you'd like a decision for a starter made?
Well, I really like the room. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in there. We're going to let everybody compete. I think we got some talented guys there. I don't have a timetable. If you said, usually for me, I don't name a quarterback until a couple weeks before this first game of the season. If you had to hold my feet to the fire, I'd probably say, yeah, I'm gonna hold off again on that. Last year was a little different with Bailey. We just knew going into it that he's the guy, but we have ideas about where we're headed with the quarterback position, but I want everybody to compete. I want everybody to feel comfortable. I don't think the job is won during spring at all. I think you got to carry it into summer. You got to carry it into fall camp. And then, things work out. Everybody knows who the starting quarterback should be by the time we get ready for the first game of the season. And so I'll probably make that announcement then.
I believe Caden was planning on enrolling early. He was going to be here for spring, but Jarrett and Austin, I know he was kind of a late commitment. Are they going to be here for the spring?
Yeah, so you'll have, you got some really good ones. So you got Jarrett Dagey, you got Austin Reed, you got Darius Ocean, you got Chance McDonald, You got Caden Velkamp. Did I say Zabi? You got, I call him Zabi, Andrew Zabi. And you can go in any order. You could go in any order there, and all those guys will compete. And, you know, it'll be a long, drawn-out process, but I want to watch all those guys. I want to see the young quarterbacks and how much they've developed from last year coming into this year. And, again, that's a long process, but I do like the room, and you know, I think we got good pieces there.
Are those guys the new guys here for the spring now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're all here for the spring, yeah.
You know, looking at the roster at this point, I know you guys added some players late last year. Is there still, you know, any openings, still looking for some guys?
Yeah. You know, I got about 6-7 scholarships left, you know, and I do that on purpose just because, you know, everything's so fluid now. You're going to lose guys. We've lost a couple guys throughout the spring, and, you know, that's to be expected, and so we got to be able to replace those guys. So I like to hold a couple of those in our back pocket. You'll probably see another wave of guys after spring hit the portal for everybody, and so we'll evaluate where our needs are probably by the end of spring and try to fill those holes. But we got about 6 or 7 spots left. You know, but I really like, if we didn't sign another person, I really like the pieces we have, though. But we do need to add some depth in some certain areas, so we'll make sure with those spots that we take care of what we need to do there.
Coach, you know, just looking at, you know, the football schedule being released, you know, you have quite a few away games against some good teams, you know. So what are some things, you know, in spring practice you're going to have to do to, you know, kind of prepare for those?
Well, I've always felt like, you know, we've done good in non-conference play. I've always felt like we've done well on the road. Really just kind of what our culture is and our day-to-day routine, how we handle our business. Nothing ever really changes for us, you know. A Tuesday practice is a Tuesday practice. A Wednesday practice is a Wednesday practice. You know, our guys know what to expect. And so we got to maintain consistency in that, you know. I think we have a challenging schedule this year, like all years, but one that I really like, one that I'm really excited about. I think you got a couple of big Power 5 teams. Think of an Indiana who played here last year, very good football team. We go up to their place this year, you know, and then late in the season we get to go play Auburn. And you always talk about you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And, you know, we've always done a good job of competing well in our non-conference. You know, I think of another school, Hawaii, University of Hawaii. I coached out there 4 years. They're a tough team to play. So, you know, we got to be ready for all those games, but just how we do things day to day and how our culture is, our guys will be ready.
You know, sticking with the schedule, you know, probably not as much on the game preparation side at this point, but there's still some, I guess, question marks with some potential changes with some of the Sun Belt and Conference USA stuff going on. What kind of challenges does that present, you know, whether it's more planning for games or behind the scenes and stuff like that?
You know, really, that's the job of our administration, you know, and the beauty of what I do is I just get to prepare the football team. And, you know, whatever our schedule it is. I think, you know, our athletic director, Todd Stewart, does a fantastic job in with scheduling and who we play. And he keeps the main thing. The number one job here is to make sure you're winning and that you, at the same time, are playing a challenging schedule that puts you a part of the national conversation. You hear me say all the time, you want to be a part of the national conversation, and Todd does a great job with that. So I just focus on, you know, our team and then whoever we play. But if the schedule stays the same today, I'm excited about that. But you think back to COVID, back to 2020 and how fluid that was. I think we learned a lot about that. So if there's changes, I think we've had a lot of experience on adapting and overcoming. So I think we'll be just fine.
What were the main focuses of the offseason?
Well, I felt like we needed to become a bigger, stronger football team. I felt like we've got some really good skill. You know, we got some good talent. Our guys run fast and they play hard and all that, but I really wanted to focus on getting bigger and stronger. I think we did that. Our strength coach, Coach Velkamp, had 8 weeks with the guys, and so coming into spring football, I think, you know, we're in really good shape. I think we are a bigger, stronger football team. losing some of the pieces that we lost in the production we lost, it was critical that we signed guys that we felt like could come in here and keep our production level high. I think we've done that. Now we'll see once we get out there on the field and we get going, but I think those people that we have signed are good football players, and I'm excited about them coming out and seeing what we have. Again, I've talked earlier about the staff. I'm excited about our new staff. I think we have a really, really talented staff. And again, hats off to our administration for allowing us to do some things, to be able to increase our staff. And I mentioned recruiting earlier and all those kind of things. I think we're going to see the rewards of that down the stretch, and I think we're in a really, really good place. So I think a lot of the boxes we needed to check coming out of the season and going into spring, I think we've done that. I think we're in a great place, and now we got to come out of spring feeling even better than how we feel today.
Coach, looking at the health of the team, some guys weren't able to end the season with you. I look at like a Josh Simon and Willie on. How are those two specifically doing, and is there anybody else that's not going to be able to participate in spring ball because of their health?
Yeah, great question. Can't wait to see Josh when he comes back in the fall. Josh is really close. We're going to be careful with him, though. Josh has played a lot of football. I don't need to necessarily see him in the spring, but he's worked really hard, done a good job. We'll hold him out for spring. There's a couple at Cam Stage, offensive linemen. He's really close. I don't think he'll get a lot of reps in spring, but he might be able to get back. We got some kicking specialists that are out. Brandon Narvison, he had a hip surgery, and so he'll be out for spring. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple others. If I am, I'm sorry. But I do feel about what we have to work with in spring and being able to let guys compete. Some of the jobs will be determined coming out of spring, and our team knows that, and they know competition's a good thing. And so that'll be the fun part, is coming out of the spring and saying, okay, who do we think is going to be the guys that are the starters for us, and who the backups are. And the one I'll hold in my back pocket, though, is the quarterback.
Looking at week by week, these few weeks that you do get in the spring, I guess what are kind of some of the goals that you hope to accomplish, heading into this first week specifically?
I think we've done a great job of our players do PRPs, player run practices, and they've done a fantastic job of that. I mean, the organization that goes into that and the commitment to get everybody out there and to do those things, they've done a really, really good job. So I got a feel for kind of where we are today, but coming out of spring, I think, we got to establish ourselves offensively that says, okay, we're a high-scoring football team. And anytime you have a new quarterback back there, and you're going to be playing a lot of different quarterbacks, you got to get a feel for, okay, are we a big play team, or are we a long drive team, or do we need to throw it as much as we normally would? Do we run it a little more? And you play to the strengths of what you have. My plans is to keep the offense exactly like it is, pedal to the metal, high-powered offense, and I think our fans enjoy that. I think we have the pieces there. But we got to see how we maximize those pieces. Been very impressed with us defensively. I think our guys have a lot of confidence right now. We've tweaked some things defensively. Even before Coach Crum left, we were working on that. I think Coach Summers has been a great fit for us and transitioning into what I wanted our defense to be. And I think our defense is playing with a lot of confidence. So we just got to come out of spring and say, okay, we're a high-powered offense, but what do we do best? And I want to be a defense that pins their ears back and gets after you. We just don't sit back and try to play safe, that we're coming after you, and keeps the quarterback thinking. That's probably the one thing I've liked so far about some of the schemes that we're trying to implement, is it keeps the quarterback thinking. And in today's game, if you can do that, you got a good chance to win. So just got to keep building on those things that we're doing right now.
Looking back to December when you named those three of the co-OCs, said you did that one voice on Saturdays. Ben Arbuckle was going to be kind of that guy as the quarterback's coach. Is that still the plan at this point?
Yeah, so like you said, we'll have 3 co-OCs with Zach Langford, Coach Crawford, and Coach Harbuckle. I think those guys run a room great. I think they work great together. I think it's important the quarterback coach, though, does, call the plays on Saturday. And so, Ben will be that guy for us. But Coach Crawford and Coach Langford will have a huge say in the offense, as do I. As do I. I reserve the right to call plays, too. But I've been really impressed with all those men. I don't think we've missed a beat offensively. I think our players believe in all those guys. And, I've been impressed watching them operate and how they work, and they work well together. There are no egos. They just want to win. Ben will call the plays on game day, but Zach will play a huge part of that, and Coach Crawford in how we do those things.
Coach, which players do you think will have an increased role this season?
Man, great question. Some guys I want to look at more than anything that I think, I'd like to see how much they can help us. I think of a Mark Good. We lost Cole Spencer. Mark Good's had a great off season so far. I'm really interested to see how he does coming out of spring. Think of the other side, Gunnar Britton. Gunnar Britton at right tackle. We lost Mason Brooks, and here comes Gunnar Britton, and man, he's doing a fantastic job. Goes back to my original statement of, we lose guys that were very productive, guys we love. You'd think, oh man, you've lost 2 guys that have played a lot of football, but I've been really impressed with Gunnar Britton and Mark Good. I think those guys are going to be really, really good players for us. So we need to see how those guys do in spring. Got a young running back group that I like. You get a Kai Robichaux back. He played a bunch last year. I love to see Jakari Moses' role increase. He's a senior now. I'd love to see him kind of take the helm there a little bit. Got some new receivers that we signed. I think of Michael Matheson. He's been impressive. Jalen Hall's been impressive. Love to see Dakota Thomas. He's had a great offseason, been working really, really hard, and there's other guys offensively. I'm probably missing some. Defensively, think of a Nico Cooper. You lose a D'Angelo Malone, and I think Nico's done a fantastic job. We signed Lorenzo, was a transfer for us that I think can add tremendous value for us. I think of a Darian Goodrum. To answer your question, Ship's not going to go during spring, but he's kind of the guy that holds it down for us in the D line, and so we got a lot of pieces there. And in the secondary, we're going to be a little young in the secondary, but I'm excited about that group too. There's a couple young players that have been, waiting their time, and I'm not going to name those names just because they're so young and nobody knows who they are yet. But I think if you come to practice and watch us, you'll see a bunch of young, talented players out there, especially in the back end, that I think we can be even better back there.